Question 1. Read the following paragraph and answer the question below. Community policing emphasizes proactive problem-solving and collaboration between law enforcement and the community. Its core aim is to build trust, reduce crime, and improve the quality of life for residents. This approach contrasts with traditional policing models, which often focus on reactive responses to incidents after they occur. Officers engaging in community policing might attend neighborhood meetings, organize youth programs, or work with local businesses to address specific issues like loitering or vandalism. What is the main idea of this paragraph? A. Community policing is less effective than traditional policing. B. Community policing focuses primarily on youth programs. C. Community policing is a proactive strategy to build trust and solve problems with community collaboration. D. Traditional policing is too reactive and should be entirely replaced. Answer: C. Community policing is a proactive strategy to build trust and solve problems with community collaboration. The main idea of a paragraph is the central point the author wants to convey, often found in the topic sentence or summarized by the overall content. This paragraph consistently describes community policing as a method that prioritizes active problem-solving and cooperation between police and residents to enhance public safety and quality of life. Understanding the core purpose and methods of community policing is crucial for any aspiring officer, as it reflects a key philosophy in modern law enforcement. When identifying the main idea, look for the statement that encompasses the broadest and most accurate summary of the text. Question 2. Choose the sentence that uses correct subject-verb agreement. A. The group of officers was ready for their briefing. B. Each of the suspects were detained individually. C. Several witnesses observes the incident from afar. D. Neither the dispatcher nor the patrol units is aware of the change. Answer: A. The group of officers was ready for their briefing. Subject-verb agreement requires that a singular subject takes a singular verb, and a plural subject takes a plural verb. In this sentence, the subject is group, which is a singular collective noun, correctly paired with the singular verb was. It's important to identify the true subject of the sentence, not just words in a modifying phrase, as this concept ensures clear and grammatically correct communication in official reports and interactions. Always remember that phrases like, of officers, do not change the singularity or plurality of the main subject. Question 3. An officer responds to a call about a loud party. Upon arrival, loud music is playing, and several individuals are gathered outside. What is the most appropriate initial action for the officer to take? A. Immediately issue citations to the homeowner for noise violations. B. Approach the residents aggressively to assert authority. C. Attempt to make contact with the residents and explain the complaint calmly. D. Call for backup immediately before attempting any contact. Answer: C. Attempt to make contact with the residents and explain the complaint calmly. The most appropriate initial action in a non-emergency situation like a noise complaint is to calmly and professionally establish contact with the involved parties. This approach demonstrates good communication skills and allows the officer to gather information, explain the situation, and attempt to resolve the issue peacefully. Rushing to judgment or escalating the situation prematurely can hinder problem-solving and damage community relations. Always aim for a de-escalatory and informative approach first when assessing a situation. Question 4. Which word is a synonym for diligent? A. Careless. B. Negligent. C. Conscientious. D. Lazy. Answer: C. Conscientious. A synonym is a word or phrase that means exactly or nearly the same as another word or phrase in the same language. Diligent describes someone who is careful and hardworking in their efforts, which aligns perfectly with conscientious, meaning wishing to do one's work or duty well and thoroughly. Understanding synonyms is crucial for expanding vocabulary and comprehending nuanced meanings in written communications, such as police reports or legal documents. To remember this, think of a diligent police officer as one who conscientiously completes all aspects of their duties. Question 5. Place the following events in a logical sequence for processing a crime scene. Photograph and document the scene. Secure the perimeter. Collect and package evidence. Interview witnesses. A. 4, 2, 1, 3. B. 2, 1, 3, 4. C. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. 2, 4, 1, 3. Answer, B. 2, 1, 3, 4. Logical sequencing involves organizing events in a practical and sensible order, which is critical in law enforcement procedures to maintain integrity and effectiveness. The first priority at any crime scene is to secure the perimeter to prevent contamination and ensure safety, followed by thoroughly documenting the scene before anything is moved or altered. Only then should evidence be collected, and witness interviews typically occur once the initial scene has been processed. This order ensures that critical evidence is preserved and accurate information is gathered systematically. Question 6. Read the following excerpt. The City Council met to discuss the growing concerns regarding public safety in the downtown area. Residents have reported an increase in petty theft and vandalism, leading to a noticeable decline in foot traffic and local business revenue. Council members debated various solutions, including increased police patrols, community watch programs, and improvements to street lighting. A final decision was postponed until more data could be gathered on the effectiveness of similar initiatives in other comparable cities. Based on the excerpt, what can be inferred about the City Council's immediate priority? A. They have already decided on a specific course of action. B. They are seeking immediate and drastic measures to curb all crime. C. They are gathering information to make an informed decision on public safety improvements. D. They believe the issues are minor and will resolve themselves over time. Answer, C. They are gathering information to make an informed decision on public safety improvements. An inference is a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning from the provided text, not directly stated. The excerpt explicitly states that a final decision was postponed until more data could be gathered on the effectiveness of similar initiatives, indicating that the Council's immediate priority is to collect information to make a well-reasoned decision. Understanding how to infer information from text is vital for comprehending complex situations and making sound judgments in police work. Always look for clues in the text that suggest underlying motivations or next steps. Question 7. Which sentence is the most clear and concise? A. Due to the fact that the suspect was in close proximity to the crime scene, he was taken into custody. B. The suspect was taken into custody because he was near the crime scene. C. In light of the circumstance that the suspect was located geographically close to the area where the crime had occurred, an arrest was effectuated. D. The apprehension of the individual who was suspected occurred as a result of his spatial relation to the location of the criminal act. Answer, B. The suspect was taken into custody because he was near the crime scene. Clarity and conciseness are paramount in law enforcement writing, as reports must be easily understood and free of unnecessary words. This option conveys the same information as the others but uses fewer words and simpler phrasing, making it the most direct and effective. Avoiding jargon and wordiness ensures that official documents, such as incident reports or witness statements, are clear and unambiguous for anyone who reads them. Practice simplifying your sentences by removing redundant phrases and complex constructions. Question 8. An officer is pursuing a suspect on foot through a crowded park. The suspect suddenly turns into a dense wooded area. What is the most important consideration for the officer at this moment? A. Whether backup units are immediately available to assist. B. The potential for the suspect to have a weapon and the officer's safety. C. The speed at which the officer can catch the suspect. D. The likelihood of damaging public property during the pursuit. Answer, B. The potential for the suspect to have a weapon and the officer's safety. Officer safety is the paramount consideration in any law enforcement encounter, especially during a pursuit where the suspect's intentions are unknown and the environment is changing. Entering a wooded area reduces visibility and cover, significantly increasing the risk of an ambush or unforeseen danger, making the potential for a weapon and the officer's own safety the primary concern. Prioritizing safety allows an officer to assess the risk, request appropriate resources, and make tactical decisions that protect themselves and the public. Remember, no pursuit is worth an officer's life. Question 9. Choose the sentence with correct pronoun agreement. A. Every officer should review their patrol vehicle before beginning their shift. B. Every officer should review his or her patrol vehicle before beginning their shift. C. Every officer should review their patrol vehicle before beginning his shift. D. Every officer should review his or her patrol vehicle before beginning his or her shift. Answer: D. Every officer should review his or her patrol vehicle before beginning his or her shift. Pronoun agreement requires that a pronoun agrees in number and gender with the noun it refers to, its antecedent. Every officer is singular, so the pronouns referring to it must also be singular. Using his or her correctly maintains this singularity and gender neutrality throughout the sentence, ensuring precise and formal language. Accurate pronoun usage is essential for professional written communication in reports and other official documents, helping to avoid ambiguity and maintain a high standard of grammar. Question 10. In the following sentence, what does the word culpable most likely mean? After a thorough investigation, the detective determined that the individual was culpable for the theft due to overwhelming evidence. A. Innocent. B. Responsible. C. Confused. D. Unaware. Answer: B. Responsible. To determine the meaning of culpable, use context clues, which are hints found within the sentence or paragraph that help explain the meaning of an unfamiliar word. The phrase, due to overwhelming evidence, suggests a finding of guilt or fault, strongly implying that the individual was responsible for the theft. Developing the ability to understand words from context is a valuable skill for interpreting complex reports and understanding legal terminology, even when you encounter unfamiliar terms. Question 11. Read the following text. California's Move Over Law, Vehicle Code Section 21809, requires drivers to move over a lane, if safe to do so, or slow down when approaching a stationary authorized emergency vehicle or a tow truck displaying flashing amber warning lights. This law is designed to protect law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, and tow truck drivers who are working on the roadside. Non-compliance can result in fines and points on a driver's record, underscoring the serious nature of the statute. According to the text, what is the primary purpose of California's Move Over Law? A. To generate revenue from traffic fines. B. To reduce overall traffic congestion on highways. C. To protect emergency personnel and tow truck drivers working on the roadside. D. To encourage drivers to change lanes frequently. Answer: C. To protect emergency personnel and tow truck drivers working on the roadside. Identifying supporting details involves finding specific information directly stated in the text that answers the question. The text explicitly states, this law is designed to protect law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, and tow truck drivers who are working on the roadside, directly answering the question about the law's primary purpose. Understanding and recalling specific details from policies and procedures is critical for law enforcement officers, as it ensures compliance and effective performance of duties. Always look for keywords in the question that direct you to the relevant information within the provided text. Question 12. An officer discovers a colleague taking small items from the evidence locker for personal use, such as discarded pens or paper clips. What is the most appropriate action for the officer to take? A. Ignore it, as the items are of little value. B. Confront the colleague immediately and demand they stop. C. Document the observation and report it through the proper chain of command. D. Join in, since the items seem insignificant. Answer, C. Document the observation and report it through the proper chain of command. Ethical conduct is paramount in law enforcement, and even minor infractions can compromise integrity and public trust. The most appropriate action is to document the observation and report it through the proper chain of command because it upholds ethical standards and ensures accountability within the department. Ignoring the behavior or attempting to handle it personally can lead to more serious issues or undermine trust within the organization. Always adhere to established protocols for reporting misconduct to maintain the integrity of law enforcement. Question 13. Which number comes next in the sequence? 2, 5, 10, 17, 26. A. 35. B. 37. C. 39. D. 41. Answer, B. 37. To solve this sequence, identify the pattern between consecutive numbers. The differences between the numbers are 5 minus 2 is equal to 3, 10 minus 5 is equal to 5, 17 minus 10 is equal to 7, 26 minus 17 is equal to 9. This shows an increasing odd number sequence, plus 3, plus 5, plus 7, plus 9. Therefore, the next difference should be plus 11, making the next number 26 plus 11 is equal to 37. Recognizing numerical patterns is a key aspect of logical reasoning and problem solving, which are skills frequently used in analyzing crime data or predicting behavioral trends. Question 14. Choose the word that is spelled correctly. A. Separate. B. Occurrence. C. Recommend. D. Definite. Answer, C. Recommend. Spelling accuracy is crucial in law enforcement for preparing clear, professional, and legally sound documents, such as reports and citations. Recommend is the only word among the options that is spelled correctly. Common spelling errors can undermine the credibility of written materials and lead to misinterpretations, so consistently reviewing and practicing common challenging words is beneficial. Make it a habit to proofread all written communication to catch and correct any spelling mistakes. Question 15. Read the following scenario. A new police chief initiated a policy requiring all patrol officers to complete an additional 40 hours of de-escalation training annually. The chief stated in an internal memo, "Our commitment to public safety extends beyond traditional enforcement. It encompasses fostering understanding and peaceful resolutions whenever possible. This training will equip our officers with enhanced tools to manage challenging situations without resorting to force unless absolutely necessary, thereby strengthening community relations." What is the author's primary purpose in writing this memo? A. To inform officers about the new training requirement and explain its rationale. B. To criticize the previous de-escalation training programs. C. To suggest that officers are currently poorly equipped to handle conflicts. D. To highlight the chief's personal philosophy on policing. Answer, A. To inform officers about the new training requirement and explain its rationale. An author's purpose is the reason or intent behind their writing, and understanding it helps in interpreting the message correctly. The memo directly announces a new policy requiring all patrol officers to complete an additional 40 hours of de-escalation training, and provides a clear justification for this requirement by explaining its benefits and alignment with the department's values. Recognizing the author's purpose is fundamental for effective communication, especially when understanding directives or policies in a law enforcement agency. Question 16. When can a law enforcement officer use force against a suspect? A. At any time, if the suspect verbally resists. B. Only if the suspect physically assaults the officer. C. When it is objectively reasonable and necessary to achieve a legitimate law enforcement objective. D. When the officer feels personally threatened, regardless of objective circumstances. Answer, C. When it is objectively reasonable and necessary to achieve a legitimate law enforcement objective. The use of force by law enforcement officers must always be objectively reasonable, meaning it must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene, rather than with the 20/20 vision of hindsight. This standard, derived from Supreme Court case law, dictates that force is permissible only when necessary to effect an arrest, overcome resistance, or protect individuals from harm. Understanding the objectively reasonable standard is fundamental for all officers, ensuring that actions are legally justifiable and proportional to the threat or resistance encountered. Always remember that the reasonableness of a particular use of force must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene, rather than with the 20/20 vision of hindsight. Question 17. Which sentence correctly uses commas? A. The suspect who was wearing a red shirt ran quickly. B. Officer Davis, a seasoned veteran, guided the rookie through the complex investigation. C. She packed her gear including her flashlight, handcuffs, and duty belt. D. After a long intense day, the patrol officer returned to the station. Answer. B. Officer Davis, a seasoned veteran, guided the rookie through the complex investigation. Commas are used to separate elements in a sentence and improve readability and clarity. In this sentence, a seasoned veteran is in a positive phrase that provides additional information about Officer Davis and should be set off by commas, so it should be Officer Davis, a seasoned veteran, guided. This rule ensures that extra, non-essential information is correctly punctuated without disrupting the main flow of the sentence. Mastering comma usage is vital for writing accurate and professional reports and correspondence. Question 18. Which word is an antonym for obstruct? A. Hinder. B. Block. C. Assist. D. Impede. Answer. C. Assist. An antonym is a word that means the opposite of another word. Obstruct means to block or make difficult, while assist means to help or give support. Understanding antonyms enhances vocabulary and improves comprehension of texts by allowing you to grasp opposite meanings. This skill is useful for interpreting nuanced language, such as when evaluating behaviors as hindering an investigation versus assisting one. Question 19. Read the following passage. The witness, visibly distraught, recounted the events of the incident with trembling hands and a faltering voice. Tears welled in her eyes as she described the impact of the crime on her family. Throughout the interview, the officer maintained a calm demeanor, offering tissues and a reassuring tone, while carefully noting every detail she shared. What is the overall tone of this passage? A. Humorous. B. Objective. C. Empathetic. D. Indifferent. Answer. C. Empathetic. The tone of a passage refers to the author's attitude toward the subject or audience, conveyed through word choice and style. The description of the witness as visibly distraught, with trembling hands and a faltering voice, contrasted with the officer's actions of offering tissues and a reassuring tone, clearly indicates an empathetic and compassionate atmosphere. Recognizing tone is important for understanding the emotional context of situations, which is crucial for effective communication and interaction in law enforcement. Question 20. When documenting a crime scene, what is the most important detail to include about a piece of evidence? A. The brand name of the evidence item. B. The exact time and date it was collected. C. The estimated value of the item. D. The name of the first officer on scene. Answer. B. The exact time and date it was collected. Meticulous report writing is fundamental in law enforcement, as it ensures the integrity of investigations and stands up to scrutiny in court. The exact time and date a piece of evidence was collected is a crucial detail for establishing the chain of custody, which legally proves that the evidence was handled properly and not tampered with. Precise documentation of every aspect of evidence collection is vital for maintaining the credibility and admissibility of that evidence in legal proceedings. Always strive for accuracy and completeness in all your official reports. Question 21. If all birds can fly, and a robin is a bird, then a robin can fly. This statement is an example of what type of reasoning? A. Inductive reasoning. B. Deductive reasoning. C. Abductive reasoning. D. Analogical reasoning. Answer B. Deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning starts with a general statement or hypothesis and then examines possibilities to reach a specific, logical conclusion. In this example, the general premise is, all birds can fly, and the specific case is, a robin is a bird, leading to the logically certain conclusion that a robin can fly. This type of reasoning is essential in law enforcement for drawing conclusions from established facts, such as applying specific laws to individual case circumstances. Question 22. Which of the following sentences demonstrates proper parallel structure? A. The officer was trained to observe, to analyze, and record details. B. She enjoys running, swimming, and to cycle. C. The suspect was armed, dangerous, and he was also fleeing. D. The goal was to secure the area, identify witnesses, and collect evidence. Answer D. The goal was to secure the area, identify witnesses, and collect evidence. Parallel structure, or parallelism, involves using the same pattern of words to show that two or more ideas have the same level of importance. In this correct sentence, all three verbs, secure, identify, collect, are in their infinitive form, maintaining consistent grammatical structure. Employing parallel structure makes sentences clear, balanced, and easier to read, which is important for professional and concise communication in law enforcement reports and briefings. Question 23. An officer is assigned to a neighborhood known for high crime rates and distrust of police. What is the most effective long-term strategy for the officer to employ to improve relations and reduce crime? A. Increase high-visibility patrols and aggressively enforce minor infractions. B. Engage with community leaders, attend neighborhood meetings, and participate in local events. C. Avoid interacting with residents unless responding to a direct call for service. D. Focus solely on making arrests and ignore non-criminal issues. Answer B. Engage with community leaders, attend neighborhood meetings, and participate in local events. Community policing emphasizes building relationships and trust between law enforcement and the community, which is a long-term strategy for improving relations and reducing crime. Actively engaging with residents, community leaders, and local events allows officers to understand neighborhood concerns, build rapport, and collaboratively solve problems. This approach contrasts with solely reactive or enforcement-focused strategies, which can exacerbate distrust. Prioritizing community engagement fosters a sense of shared responsibility for public safety. Question 24. Choose the sentence that correctly uses an adjective or adverb. A. The detective spoke quick and clearly about the case. B. The new policy was applied uniformly across all divisions. C. He drives real careful on slippery roads. D. She performed exceptional on her physical agility test. Answer B. The new policy was applied uniformly across all divisions. Adjectives modify nouns, while adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. In this sentence, uniformly is an adverb correctly modifying the verb applied, indicating how the policy was put into effect. Proper use of adjectives and adverbs ensures precision and clarity in written communication, which is crucial for accurately describing events and actions in official reports. Always remember that adverbs often end in ly and answer questions like how, when, where, or to what extent. Question 25. An officer arrives at a chaotic scene where multiple people are yelling. To quickly assess the situation, what is the most important initial observation? A. Who is yelling the loudest? B. The nearest exit route. C. Any immediate threats or signs of injury. D. The number of people present. Answer C. Any immediate threats or signs of injury. In a dynamic and potentially dangerous situation, an officer's immediate priority is to ensure safety and identify pressing concerns. Observing any immediate threats, such as weapons or aggressive behavior, or signs of injury is crucial for rapidly assessing the severity of the situation and determining the appropriate course of action. This rapid threat assessment allows an officer to prioritize intervention and ensure the safety of themselves and others. Always focus on immediate dangers first when encountering a chaotic scene.